remember like having the meeting with our doctor and leaving and getting into the elevator, and I immediately just started sobbing. And my husband was just like standing there, and he's like, I don't know like what to do. And like he like hugged me obviously, but I remember like getting into the car and I'm like, why aren't you crying? Like, why aren't you mad? Like, why aren't you upset?
What types of advice do you give women that are struggling with fertility problems?
Honestly, everyone's is like so different. Like mine's not gonna be the same as yours. Yours isn't gonna be the same as Becky down the street. But I feel like the more you share it and the more you talk about it, it will help someone. Because I remember early on watching an influencer in Utah that was like opening up about it a ton. And that like kind of helped me, and then that helped me open up about it a lot. And honestly, I like learned so much from her. Even the ones that aren't going through it and they know someone going through it, just be there. Like, it's okay to be like, this freaking sucks. Like, I'm gonna sit here and like hold your hand or just like hug you. Like, no one wants to hear, everything's gonna be okay, or this is God's plan. I remember having a conversation with actually my mother-in-law in her kitchen. I was like, I need you to like be there for me. I'm like, I need you to ask us stuff. I don't know what help I need, but like, just be there for me. Her response was like, I had no idea. Like, we are here for you. I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And so I think me also saying that to her has helped her so much. But I think like, just know your friends and family, like they're not trying to be rude. I think they just don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. When we first did our first retrieval, we put 2 in and it didn't work. And I'm like, why aren't you crying? Like, why aren't you mad? Like, why aren't you upset? And I will never forget, he's like, I'm just trying to be strong for the both of us. And it honestly made us so much closer. I mean, as crappy as the situation is, I'm grateful that there's a way to do it and that there's amazing doctors to help us get our kids here.
Matti Brown of Cozy's Blankets, the owner, the entrepreneur, the mom, the wife, all of the above. You got lots of titles. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming in. I know you said this was your first one, so hopefully it's just pretty conversational and, you know, there's nothing to it.
Perfect.
But I'm just really excited to talk to you. Your name actually came up. We were talking through various just things that we want to talk about on the podcast and with the company and, you know, things that are important for people to know. And your name came up specifically as an advocate with fertility awareness. And I thought, man, this would be awesome. Plus know you from Cozy's Blankets. And I just thought, man, this is great. Probably so many lessons to be learned through like your entrepreneurial path. And then obviously your fertility journey.
Yeah.
Which me and my wife can relate to as well. So I thought this would be great. But anyway, welcome. Maybe take a few minutes and just tell us about yourself, family, who you are, like who is Matti Brown?
Well, I've been married for, 14 years in November. We have 2 kids. Austin is a girl. She'll be 9 in November, and then Brewer just turned 4 in May. I started Cozy's in 2015, not with any intention to start a business. Is this what you're wanting me to talk about right now?
I want you to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
I don't know.
Yeah. Just tell me about you. Like, so you started Cozy's in 2015.
Yeah.
Not really intending to start the business, but.
No, we had found out that we had to do fertility treatments to get pregnant. And so we had been married for, it was like the beginning of 2015. So like 3 years or 4 years. No. Yeah. 3-4 years. And we didn't have $50,000 to like go start fertility treatments. Like, what are we going to do? And so my mother-in-law used to always, she would go to the alleys and get fabric for dance costumes. And so they'd always get this jersey knit fabric, and her mom would like sew these blankets for like gifts or whatever. So I remember one day we were there, and growing up, my mom always made me take sewing lessons in the summer. And so we were at my mother-in-law's, and I just one day was like, what if I started sewing these blankets and just like sold them to like friends, like for fun, whatever. So I started doing it out of my house, kind of, okay, cool, trickle in like here and there, whatever, nothing big or anything. More people started being like, I need 10. Like, I don't want 1. Like, no, give me 10, give me 5. Every time the family would come over, the husband, I don't want 1. Like, I don't need a blanket without fail 2 days later. So my husband's really sad he doesn't have a blanket. And so then we started doing like more like boy prints and things like that. But then in Gilbert, they do a lot of holiday boutiques. And so one of my friends' sister owns a really big boutique called Sugar Plums.
Mm-hmm.
And so I texted her. I'm like, hey, is there any way that I could come and do this? And I ended up getting into the boutique. It's a 3-day boutique. At the time, I worked at a dental office being a dental assistant. So I would go to work all day and then I would come home at like 7 o'clock at night and I would sew until midnight. Keep doing that for like 2 months straight. I'm all, great. We have enough for the 3-day boutique. Well, I sold out in like 3 hours. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I recruited a bunch of my friends to come home with me, help me like pin them, sew them. So we had like more for the next like couple days. I still remember carrying a wagon with like boxes of blankets or like blankets just filled to the brim of like the wagon through the boutique. And it was like little ducklings, like following shoppers, like coming and like following me to like go set up on my booth. And before I could even stock the booth, like they were completely gone. And I'm like, what the heck? I had no intention to start a business or anything like that. And so after that boutique, I'm like, maybe I should like make this into something. I didn't go to business school. I don't know what I'm doing. And it just kind of morphed into like every year it would get like bigger and bigger. And it was like, honestly, such a blessing because I want to get emotional. It's just, it helped me personally a lot because when I first started it, we did an egg retrieval and we only had 3 embryos. So we put 2 we put 2 of the embryos in and it didn't work. And so I like went to like, that was like, I feel like a really dark time in my life. And it was just, I don't know, like, how am I going to get out of this hole? Like, what's going on? And so I felt like, honestly, Cozy's like helped me a ton to be able to like, not that I had a purpose, but kind of. And so then I started more so like talking about our story and stuff. And I didn't realize how many people do go through fertility issues. Like, it's actually insane. And I feel like the older I've gotten, because it'll be 10 years that I started Cozy's in August. So I feel like the older I've gotten, there's so many more people that have fertility issues, whether you have to do IVF, IUI, or like just different things. That's like, it's so amazing that they have the means, like the medical means now to like be able to do that and like help you grow your family or start your family or things like that. Mm-hmm. But I kind of just went on a big long ramble.
It was awesome. No, that was awesome.
I kept telling myself, I'm like, don't get emotional.
And I love this. Actually, look, we are supporters of Cozy's.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I might even have kids on your website.
You do. You guys model.
Got your little story card.
Yeah.
So if you get a Cozy's anything, this comes in it, right? A little picture with your family and your story and kind of the why behind starting it, which I think is super awesome.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. And I wonder too, like on the fertility side, there are a lot of people that struggle with fertility. But people don't really talk about it a lot. No. And I think it's really cool that you've been really open about your journey. Steph and I had our own experience with that too. We couldn't get pregnant when we first started trying. It took us several years until she ended up going to a fertility. Well, I don't even know if it was a fertility specialist. It was just a doctor that just threw her on something that ended up kind of messing with her hormones, and it caused weight gain, and which then kind of spirals into emotional distress. And so we kind of had our own like journey through all of that. We ended up going to a fertility specialist in Houston when we lived there. And first question he asked was, okay, so what have you been doing? She was checked for endometriosis, and she was put on this and she was put on that. And the doctor said, well, what about him?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what do you mean? Well, has he been checked?
That was literally us.
And the doctor he was shocked.
Like, you never think about that.
The most simple, the easiest the first thing that you should do is check the male.
Yeah.
Instead of put the female through the ringer with medications that can have all sorts of side effects, just check the male. It's so easy to find if like they have like the quality of sperm count, all that kind of stuff. It's not difficult.
Well, I remember that being like, okay, you can spend $100 and do that. Or they're like, these tests for the woman and it's like $3,000. I'm like, let's do the cheaper one first. And then that's fine. We'll do this. Yeah. So
But I feel like if we had talked to the right person or talked to the right individuals that would have been open maybe about their journey with it, we would have learned that easier instead of learning it just by jumping into it and trying. Because I think the other thing too, I don't want to speak for Steph, but I think there was kind of this like taboo, kind of like, I don't know if it was a cultural feeling that we just didn't talk about it because it's almost like if you couldn't get pregnant, then something was wrong. Something was wrong with me, or, you know, like, because that's what we do is like, we have kids and we have families and all this kind of stuff. And so I think she didn't really open up about it to very many people. And in fact, when she did, there were times that she talked to some people that almost like made her feel like, well, if you're not getting pregnant, that's God's plan for you. And you should look at adoption or whatever else, which is amazing. Like adopting is like one of the most selfless things you can do. However, like kind of gave her a little bit of a guilt trip for considering fertility treatments because it was kind of like, in a way, they saw it as manipulative or something like that to the human body, whereas you should just let nature take its course. And if it, you know, and so like we were dealing with various opinions getting thrown at us. And I look back and I'm like, that is so bad and so destructive, like to think that way, because we were fortunate enough to be able to do, our insurance at the time covered the first round of amazing. IUI. If you didn't have any kids, and we got blessed going through the first 2 rounds of IUI, with our oldest. And I can't imagine not having that guy. You know, if we would have like listened to some of these people that were like overly religious or whatever, and didn't see it like as kind of this huge blessing that God's blessed us with these doctors that have these specialties that can figure us out and, you know, and help us, you know, with fertility. So anyway, it was kind of its own miracle, right? But the nugget that I got out of that, and I hate that I'm talking right now, but
I love it.
The nugget that I got out of that was the piece of advice that I would have, at least, and it sounds like you had the same issue, is if you're a woman and you have fertility issues, if your husband hasn't been checked yet, don't do anything. Get them checked first, because it's cheap, it's fast, it's easy, and that might help. This is just the first stone, right? It's the first step. Don't get on medications. Don't go have endometriosis surgeries or anything like that until he's been checked out.
Because she didn't have endometriosis, right?
She had a little bit, but maybe an immaterial amount it might not have had any. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, like for us at least, I mean, everyone's different. The doctors actually couldn't explain why we weren't getting pregnant. It's just her body wasn't ready. Because then after she had her first, you know, kind of our family, we were blessed with more. So without needing fertility treatments. So it was kind of,
it's like her body just needed like a jump start.
It's kind of like it needed a jump start somehow. And we're grateful, you know, that we had the help that we did in Houston, and wouldn't have changed any of it, obviously. But the piece of this that concerns me is just women that feel ashamed for some reason and don't talk about it. So like with the work that you've done, like with your kind of being an advocate and kind of promoting that awareness, what types of advice do you give women that are struggling with fertility problems?
Honestly, everyone's is like so different. Like mine's not going to be the same as yours. Yours isn't going to be the same as Becky down the street. Like, you know, everyone's is different and everyone has their own story. But I feel like kind of what you were saying, the more you share it and the more you talk about it, it will help someone. Because I remember early on watching an influencer in Utah that was like opening up about it a ton. And that like kind of helped me. And then that helped me open up about it a lot. And honestly, I like learned so much from her. And so it was like, oh, they tried these things and like that helped. So I remember like going and like taking that back and asking our doctor, like, hey, what if I tried like these protocols? Do you think that would help for me or whatever? But I just honestly, even the ones that aren't going through it and they know someone going through it, just be there. Like, it's okay to be like, this freaking sucks. Like, I'm going to sit here and like hold your hand or just like hug you. Like, no one wants to hear everything's going to be okay. Or what you were saying, this is God's plan. Like, you shouldn't have kids or whatever people might say. But also, I think those people aren't coming from a place of like trying to hurt you or like, I think they are genuinely trying to help you. They don't know what to say. Because my experience, like, no one in my family, no one in my husband's family, like, knew anything about it. Like, we were the first ones that were going through it. And so I remember, like, having a conversation with actually my mother-in-law, and she's the sweetest. Like, I love her so much. But I just remember, I don't know like what exactly happened, but I just remember like having a conversation with her in her kitchen. I was like, I need you to like be there for me. I'm like, I need you to ask us stuff. Like, I need you to like help me. I don't know what help I need, but like just be there for me. And she like, her response was like, I had no idea. Like, we are here for you. I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And so I think me also saying that to her has helped her so much. But I think like, just know your friends and family, like, they're not trying to be rude. I think they just don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And so I don't know. It's tricky. But like, I think the more that you tell them like what you need, you're going to get it back tenfold. And like, it'll be so much better for you. So I just feel like, I don't know, you don't need to go project it all on Instagram if you don't want to. But like your closest friends and stuff, I think it's amazing to like even send out like a group text, hey, this is what we're going on or going through right now, this is like what's happening. Like, I don't know, keep them in the loop.
No, that's really good. I think you're right. I don't think like anyone meant, at least like some of the good and bad advice that we got, I don't think anyone meant any harm by it. But we did have one individual in our life that was kind of like us. She felt a little weird about opening up about it and talking about it, but she pulled Steph aside, and it was her that really got Steph like feeling like, why have we not explored fertility treatments?
Yeah.
Like actually going to a fertility specialist. It just felt like it was so weird. It just felt like it's just not what you do. And then we had one person reach out and say, it's okay. And this is where you need to go.
Yeah.
And that has completely changed our life completely.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are somebody who's been through something, whether it's this or anything else, and you can really relate, just talk to them, just share your knowledge, because it can be life-changing. So
yeah. Well, I just thought of this, even for like husbands, like I know, like for our experience when we first did our first retrieval, because we had to do IVF, we couldn't do IUI or anything. And so we got 3 embryos. So he's like, I'd put 2 in first because you have like a better chance of like one sticking or even both. So we put 2 in and it didn't work. And I remember like having the meeting with our doctor and leaving and getting into the elevator, and I immediately just started sobbing. And my husband was just like standing there and he's like, I don't know like what to do. And like he like hugged me obviously, but I remember like getting into the car and I'm like, why aren't you crying? Like, why aren't you mad? Like, why aren't you upset? And he's probably gonna hate me for saying this, but he's like an emotional guy. And so like seeing him not cry, I'm like, what is going on? Like, do you not care? And I will never forget, he's like, I'm just trying to be strong for the both of us. He's like, you're having to go through all these things. You're having to do all the shots, all the doctor's appointments, all the ultrasounds, all the blood draws. And he's like, I don't want to like break down and make it like worse in a sense. And so I think just like having those conversations, those hard conversations, especially with your spouse, when like something like that happens and you do want to crawl into a hole and like not come out, like it's huge. And it honestly, like us going through that made us so much closer. I mean, as crappy as the situation is, but like at the same time, I'm like, I'm grateful we know what our issue is. And I'm grateful that we know that we do have to do IVF and like that's what we have to do to have more kids. But I'm grateful that there's a way to do it and that there's amazing doctors to help us get our kids here.
Well, you got an awesome spouse. I don't think he'll be upset about you sharing that. I think that that's a normal male husband, provider, protector response.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I've learned being married as long as I have is that sometimes my wife wants me to show emotion. Like even just this last week we were talking about, she's like, you don't like get like worked up about this or that. And I think it's just this natural, like I can be an emotional person too, but I think sometimes I feel like I'm not allowed to because I need to be like this person that I need to allow someone else to do it. And I will, but you know,
like tell us when you're having a bad day. Tell us when you're stressed.
Yeah.
Please. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard to do for us sometimes. I
think we just had that conversation too.
You did? Yeah. I think sometimes guys just feel like it's showing weakness or they don't want, like, I don't want to project, like if I'm struggling with work or, you know, having a crappy day at work, I don't ever want my wife to worry about me putting food on the table or anything like that. So I think sometimes I just, you know, no, I'm good. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Like, because I know I will make it good no matter what.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we shoot ourselves in the foot by not just being a bit more vulnerable with our spouses. And so I guess in those moments when you're dealing with like these really difficult situations with a spouse, fertility or other, like anything you learned like through that as far as like if you've got like, I guess now maybe speaking to the husbands out there, like what advice would you have for a husband that's trying to care for a wife that's going through fertility issues, whether it's someone that has had struggle getting pregnant, someone that struggles keeping them, dealing with miscarriages is a whole other thing. Based off just like what you've learned through all of this, I mean, what advice would you have for the husbands that's sitting on kind of the other side of the table?
Honestly, I feel like kind of what I said earlier, just be there for them, hug them. Like I even would make Wiley give me my shots because there's certain ones that you have to do like in the back and I'm like, I will not do those ones. And so like he was the one that like did my shots every time. And just, I don't know, just, hey, yeah, this does freaking suck. Like, but we're going to get through this. We're going to figure it out. It's, oh, maybe don't say it's okay, but like, it's going to work out eventually. Something's going to happen. Like, I don't know. I think just be there for them. As silly as that sounds, just listen to them. You as a man, like telling us like what you need also, because yes, it's hard on us, but I think it's also really hard on the husband because they're watching the love of their life that they want to have kids with or more kids with going through this, and they can't really do anything in a sense, right? So I think it's also like hard on them as well.
Do you think there's a fear of some women that if they can't have kids, that because you get married or you start a life with somebody with kind of this idea of what it's going to turn out to be like, you kind of paint this picture of what, I have 5 kids and like some people come from big families and they want to, and it doesn't really like pan out that way, right?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a fear that some women have that like if they can't make that come true, that it's like they've done something wrong, or like there's this sense of guilt, like if you can't get pregnant, and maybe your husband's talked about how he wants big family and can't like provide that. I wonder if there's, I don't know. I just wonder if there's women out there that worry that like, that they've like, it's their fault or that they've ruined that dream, or, you know what I'm saying?
I'm sure, but like that also like breaks my heart. Like that's.
And I'm not saying it's probably the reality. I don't think any man would think that way. I just worry that women might sit back
like they
and
carry
worry.
A lot of guilt. Yeah. I think for sure. Yeah. And I think just like us also as women, like at least like when I was going through it, I'm like, no, this is like what my body's supposed to do. Like I'm supposed to carry the baby and like all the things. And so when we also found out that my husband was the issue, I was honestly kind of relieved, as like sad as I was, because I'm like, wait, I don't want him to be the issue. Like, no, I'd rather it be me kind of a thing. But then when we figured that out, I was like, you know what, I'm actually really glad because I'm the one that carries the baby and delivers the baby and like all those things. Like I'd rather it not be, but not saying that if women, you are the issue or, you know, and you do end up carrying the baby, like it's totally fine too. Mm-hmm. But that was just like my experience and my intrusive thoughts.
So when you hear the phrase like trials don't happen to you, they happen for you. Mm-hmm. Would you say that this trial has happened for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I would have ever started Cozies if this didn't happen, which is really crazy to think about.
You mentioned, you know, your relationship with your husband and how it's brought you closer together. The relationship you have with your kids is probably pretty unique too, I'd assume.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like every kid is so special, but I don't know. There's just something about, I don't know. I feel like there was like so many sacred experiences, especially with like when we first started doing everything, where it was before, so we had one embryo left. And I remember being like, okay, I'm going to take 6 months off. Like, I'm going to eat really good. Like, I'm going to work out more. Like, you know, my body has to like be like not going crazy extreme, but like I need it ready because like this has to work. Like it has to work. And I'm very like the type of personality where like if like I will figure out a way to make it work, or if I want something, I will work 10 times harder to get that. Like that's just how I've just always been my whole life. And so I'm like, no, like this has to work. Like it's going to work. And I remember clear as day waking up one morning before we even did our transfer, and I had a dream and I saw, so maybe this means I'm going to have 3 kids, but I had a dream and it was like an older kid like holding like 2 hands. And so I was like, wait, is that like the twins technically that like I like lost, I guess you could say? And it was just like, I still can like see it, like it was clear as day. So then we did our transfer and it worked. And then they have you wait 10 days and then you come back and do a blood test. You come back and do a blood test 10 days later to see if it worked. So we came back and I remember the nurse being like, so what do you think? Like, how are you feeling? And I was like, it worked. Like it worked. And so they take my blood. I was actually with Caitlin when they called me. And they called me and told me like it worked, you're pregnant, all the things. So then like a little bit later, I had a really strong feeling, like literally like shot out of bed. And I had a strong feeling that like, rewind. Before we did the transfer, I woke up and I had a feeling that it was going to work and that it was a girl. That's what it was. And so when the nurse asked me, do you think it worked? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, and it's a girl. And she's like, okay, like we'll see. So I get the call that it worked. And then whatever, at your 16-week ultrasound, we figured out that it was a girl. And I'm like, what the heck? So just like crazy different things. And then I always had and this is, I'm sure people have these like feelings and stuff too, but when we did our transfer with Brewer and we didn't find out what any of our embryos are, I've always been like, I don't want to know the genders. I feel like I'd be more sad if they don't work. So like, don't tell me, I'm happy with whatever we get. And so when we did our last embryo transfer, we actually thought we were having twins because my HCG levels were so high and it was COVID. So Wiley's not in there with me and I'm sitting there panicking, staring at the ultrasound like, oh my gosh, like we're really doing this. But then come to find out it was just one baby and then an empty sac or whatever. But I just like knew, I'm like, it's a boy. And it ended up being Brewer. So hopefully that dream comes true and we have one more.
So backing up to your first, so they called you to tell you that it worked. Mm-hmm. And so you took that over the phone. So your husband's not there. So how did you tell him?
So I actually, I told her, I was like, hey, if you call, I'm like, and if I'm like out and about, because my 2 friends, Caitlin being one of them, we're like, we're going to like go take you shopping or something, like get your mind off this. Cause you go in at like 7 a.m. They don't call you till like 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the longest like 8 hours of your life. And so we went like shopping. Of course, we were out at the mall when they called. So I'm like, if I don't answer, I'm like, leave me a voicemail. And so I was like, hey, we were in Scottsdale. We lived in like North like Gilbert at the time. I'm like, I can't wait 45 minutes. Like I have to listen to this. So we called Wiley on the other phone so we could like both listen to it on speakerphone. And we're all just like sobbing in the car. Like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. Like this isn't real. And of course, went home immediately, took a pregnancy test to make sure. But it was like, you just never forget that. And I'm sure it's like the same for when you get pregnant, like naturally, like you just don't ever forget that. Like it only happens like a few times in your life, so to say. And so it's like, it's just like one of those like really special, like sacred moments.
Oh yeah. And then you see him on that ultrasound 16 weeks later and that's even a different chapter
Insane.
of crazy
Yes.
like life moments for sure.
Yeah.
During that time from like the inception piece to 16 weeks to giving birth, did you deal with any like scares through that time? Because it's like it took so much for you all to get pregnant. Was that a stressful time for you to go through that, or was everything just pretty normal?
So there was one time, because I was still working at the dental office, and there was one time I remember sitting there like helping a patient. I was like, something feels weird. Like I don't feel right. And so I like went to the bathroom and there was like some blood and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I like immediately like started shaking and like the doctor that I worked for, he's like, what's going on? I was like, I'm literally going to kill someone if they don't answer their phone right now. Like freaking out. They're like not answering. And he's like, just leave, just go. Because our fertility clinic was like a couple miles down the road. And so I showed up and I was like, I need you to do an ultrasound right now. Like, I need to know that I'm still pregnant, that everything's okay. Like, this is what happened. And so they did an ultrasound and I think I was like 6 weeks. And so they don't normally, I think they usually do it like at 6 or 7 weeks and then like 8 or 9. And then you don't go see your OBGYN until you're like 12 or 14. So you go from having like, all these like ultrasound, blood draws, all these things to all of a sudden like, okay, we're not going to see you for 6 weeks because you'd go like every other day or like twice a week. And so like, then when you have that period where you don't go till your OBGYN, you're like, oh my gosh, like what do I do with myself? Yeah. So they did that ultrasound and they're like, no, everything's fine. Like it was probably just old, whatever. And everything was okay. But that was like the only scare. And I'm like, I cannot be having a miscarriage right now after all of this. Like there's no freaking way.
Yeah.
But
I'd imagine that's probably kind of a stressful thing.
Yeah.
And then with Brewer, same thing, kind of a similar, like you got a phone call. Was that the same? Like when you found out that you were pregnant again, what was that like?
Yeah. So we went and did the blood draw, came home, and another one of my friends came over and she's like, can I video like you taking like the phone call? I'm like, yeah, like please. And I'm so grateful that she was there and did that because you have like me sitting on the couch, like Wiley right here, and you see Wiley's face like so stressed out. And then they're like, you're pregnant. He's like, and then of course, like he starts crying. I start crying. And I was like, I have not been able to eat a single thing today. I was like, I've been so stressed. But it is like the biggest like sigh of relief and just like the most amazing feeling.
So how much, I'm curious, like you talk about these embryos and for those that aren't like familiar with this process, I mean, how much does it cost to harvest one of those and keep it?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's a pretty expensive process, right?
Yeah. So I want to say, well, also different fertility clinics is like different pricing, but the one that we go to, I think initially we paid, I think it was like 14 or 16,000, and insurance like doesn't really cover anything. And so that is like, that includes like all your doctor's visits because you'll have them like every couple days or every other day, and like all your ultrasounds, and then it'll cover your your egg retrieval. Okay. So then you have to pay for the meds, all the shots, pills, all those things. And I think that was like $6,000 or so. That's not covered either. They have these really amazing programs though that they'll give you information that you can apply for, and you can get like 25% off or 50% off. I think they're called like fertility grants or something. So like that was amazing. I remember the first time we did it, we got like 25% off. So I was like, okay, cool. We get like,
Is that like through the state?
I think so. Yeah. And so that helped a ton. So like if people going through fertility don't know that was like really helpful when we were obviously like when we were like newly married and didn't have like the means, but regardless, it's still freaking expensive. But then once you go through the egg retrieval process, put his sperm with your eggs, then you get embryos, but they go through like an incubation. Yep.
Got it.
They go through like that phase. And so I remember like we got like 12 eggs. So then the next day, usually like half die off. And then they check it again on like day 5 and usually a little bit more die off. And then day 7 is when they like freeze them. And so this last one with Brewer, I think we had like 12. And then by the end of it, we had 4. And I'm like, that's fine. Like at least we have some. That's okay. And so then you figure out when you want to go in for the transfer. So I think the transfer is like $2,000, $2 or $3,000, like every time you do that. But that you have to do shots for like a week before. And then it's actually like the coolest experience. And I'm so mad. I'm like because we have 2 more left. So we want to get pregnant again. But I'm like, the next time we do it, I want to like video, because they literally are there's a nurse doing like the ultrasound so you can see it in front of you, and then the doctor's like doing his thing, and then all of a sudden the embryologist comes in and she has this like little straw thing and she's like, okay, here's the embryo, and they literally put it inside of you, and it's like a catheter thing, and he like you literally watch it like shoot inside of you and like go into your uterus. And it is like, but again, like that is the most amazing thing that they have, like that they have the science and everything to be able to do that.
It's pretty incredible.
But I forgot what we were talking about.
We were talking about kind of the general cost of like IVF.
Yes.
So this is IVF, right?
Yes.
So this is in vitro, which they're basically taking your eggs and then putting one back in you, right?
Yeah.
And then inseminating that egg directly.
So they inseminate when they get the eggs out. When they get the eggs out, they inseminate it outside. And then that's what they literally like put them in like petri dishes, and like that's what they're like watching and like seeing how they like grow and stuff.
So
and
that makes sense, in vitro.
Yeah.
Got it. And
then once they freeze them, and then when you're ready to do your transfer, they literally thaw it, and then they like so then that's when it makes an embryo. Oh. And then they put that inside of you.
Jeez, that is crazy. And then so IUI, intrauterine insemination, is really same thing with the shots. Probably a different shot though, I'd assume, because like those shots just make a female more fertile. And then during those ovulation days, they collect from the male, and then they basically take the same thing that you were kind of talking about, maybe a little bit different, kind of like a turkey baster type thing. And, and then they try to inseminate that way. So it's just it's like one notch below, I guess, IVF. IVF that's pretty advanced medicine.
I feel like,
it's pretty crazy.
I feel like IUI is still like invasive in a sense. It's just like not as invasive as IVF, I guess you could say.
And I think most insurances will cover a couple rounds of IUI.
I think so.
If you haven't had any kids. So like if someone's struggling, like look and check and see, because they very well might cover a couple rounds of like, because it's really just taking like injections over the course of a month. Steph had some friends helping her with that when I wasn't around, because she had to take like the same time of day or whatever. So, and she's not going to stab herself like that either. So she had friends helping out. And then there's like a 2 days back to back, you go into the doctor and they inseminate 2 days back to back. And then you just kind of wait and see if you got pregnant.
Like that is so amazing.
But IVF, that is advanced medicine, like super advanced medicine. Yeah. It's amazing that they have the ability to do that. I just wish they could figure out a way to make it a bit more cost effective for people, like
I know.
I don't know, that just seems pretty dang expensive. And obviously there's not a lot of people that can afford to do stuff like that might want to. So I guess
there's like people that like will take out like loans and stuff. Yeah. Like for sure.
Oh yeah.
Cause I remember talking to my boss, the doctor, and I'm like, I don't care. I just want to be pregnant. I will spend $100,000. I will figure it out. I'm like, I just need to be pregnant.
Yeah. I think there's you can't, it's hard to put a cost on that for a lot of people. And again, like, I don't want to like look past like adoption either as being like such a great, it's so amazing. So, we have family that have been adopted into our family, and I love them. And I look at like their family, and it was meant to be the way they have it.
Yeah.
Everyone's journey is unique, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to say this person's name unless they didn't want me to bring this up. I don't think that she'd care, but anyway, she had first child, normal, just a normal pregnancy. And then after that first baby, couldn't get pregnant for like a long time. Like tried, couldn't. Started doing fertility treatments, couldn't get pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how, if they did do IVF. I don't know how many times, but again, it gets expensive. So it's almost like if it doesn't work, like how many times do you try?
Yeah.
And then they started looking, going down the adoption route. And that is a whole other just emotional roller coaster experience.
Yeah.
They had babies placed with them only to be taken away within a couple of weeks because the parent changes their mind, which is fine if the mom but it that is an emotional toll on the individual that's thinking like, I'm going to care for this baby like my own, like the rest of their life. And then it's like they're newborns and you're sitting there feeding them in the middle of the night for 2 straight weeks. There's a bond that's going to create there.
Oh my gosh.
And then, had babies, get taken back with the parent. And then I remember we were on our way to a family trip and got a call that there was a baby available. And literally they like got the baby and brought him on a family trip with us. And it was so unusual and so crazy how fast it happened, because sometimes these things draw out and then sometimes it's like, literally it's like right now.
Yeah.
So they like went out, drove out of their way to like go through this process because they'd been in the system for a while trying to be placed, and brought this cute little baby with us on our little family trip.
Oh my gosh.
Fit right in, looked like one of my kids, still does. And just like, I see that. Oh, by the way, and then she got pregnant. Naturally, just like soon after. So those two are actually pretty close in age. So it's everyone's journey is so unique.
Yeah.
Whether it's like going through multiple rounds of IVF, mix of like, potentially adoption, natural baby births, like everyone's journey is unique. But in any of those, whether you're having kids naturally or going through like modern medicine and utilizing some of those resources or adoption, like all of it is emotionally difficult and tough. Yeah. And everyone has those roller coasters of potential issues that come up. Every child that's born is a complete miracle in my mind. 100%. No matter how it happens, like there are an innumerable number of things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
So for me, I am like just in awe at like every human being and what a miracle they are to exist.
Yeah.
What a blessing to like be alive, right?
It's so true.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just see all these different families, shapes and sizes, and I love it because it's just like, it's I don't know. I'm kind of a believer that things just kind of happen for a reason, and your family is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I love it. I think it's so cool. So with Cozies, you've done a lot with Cozies. You started it to help fund you having fertility treatments, but you have done some awareness outreach. I think you said April is Fertility Awareness Month. What are some things that you do every year or throughout the year to raise awareness?
So we always highlight it every year. The end of April is usually when it is. This year, so we always have people nominate send in nominations, whether it's themselves or a sister or a friend or an aunt or whoever it might be. And then we go through those, and then I'll do a donation to their fertility office or their doctors. Yeah. And so that's actually really cool. Like I remember last year, the one that we picked, I want to say she was a kindergarten teacher, and her story was just like, had been trying for like 6 years, like all the things, just have like really been through the ringer. And come to find out, she actually was from here, and she goes to my same fertility clinic. So it was just kind of cool. Like once we like learned all that, I'm like, oh, like what you're saying, like that was like meant to be, kind of is what I felt like. But we always do like question and answer boxes, or we'll have a bunch of different facts, like things that maybe you should say to a friend, or things that like maybe you should steer away from saying to a friend, or like, did you know that 1 in 8 people suffer from infertility? Maybe suffer is not the right word, but struggle from infertility or with infertility. So it's just kind of cool just to, I don't know, I feel like the more you talk about it, the more people are knowledgeable about it. And so then like there's a lot of people that go through it. And so then when they do know someone, I feel like everyone's going to know someone at one point in their life that's struggling with it. Then they kind of have like maybe some tools to help them and just let them know like they're not alone.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was going to ask you like why fertility awareness is important to you. And I think you kind of answered it right there. Yeah. I think people, you use the word, what was the first word you used? Not suffer. Struggle, suffer. You said suffer.
I said suffer.
I think there are a lot of women that suffer.
Yeah.
And struggle. And it's more than physical. It's super, super emotional.
Oh yeah.
And so I think it's cool what you're doing and just kind of like being out there and talking about it. And honestly, like it's not going to get better, at least like in our side of things on the medical side, we deal with a lot of like hormone optimization, and we deal with sexual health. We deal with a lot of natural like lifestyle changes, like what is driving decreased testosterone in men, why is fertility dropping in both men and women. There's a lot of environmental factors going on right now that's leading to a ton of this stuff too.
Yeah.
And so also trying to figure out how can we educate. Maybe there's something we can do together. Like, I don't know if there's something we could collaborate on with Cozy's, but I would love to also help in the education side of like giving themselves the best chance possible to get pregnant through lifestyle stuff. Yeah. Like you mentioned, when it was that time, you were like, you're eating perfect and doing all these things. Like there's a lot to that. And there's things that actually can be done that a lot of people they just don't know that there's some natural things they can do to really like, for a man and for a woman to become more fertile. Yeah. Because I think right now, just our environment around us, the toxins in the air, the toxins in our food, the ultra processed foods, the plastics, all of that is disrupting the system.
For sure.
And so it's difficult. Like we're kind of in this battle. You see like, fertility rates are just going down. People are having less children and fertility rates are going down. So, I don't know. There's just a lot of education there too. I think that would be good to talk about and help people just kind of like give themselves the best shot possible.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Yeah. But, okay. So maybe shift gears just for a minute. I know we don't have a ton of time, but like, as far as Cozy's and, being a business owner and, I won't swear, but just being a boss, what are some of the, I guess as being like a founder, business owner, a leader, what are some of the biggest, like lessons that you've learned through that process that you would share with other, maybe female business owners, small business owners, those that are kind of doing the same thing that you did? You started just kind of like with an idea that kind of like, what are some nuggets of just like things that you learned that would be valuable for someone else?
The top things that come to my mind is you're going to go through so many ebbs and flows. Like there were times where I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. Like I'm exhausted. This is like taking up all my time. Like it was all I like thought about, dreamed about, live, eat, breathe, cozies. I mean, it was in my house for so many years. So it was literally like taking over my whole house. But then I would go to like LA and pick out fabric. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited again. Like, so I think it's like finding those little things to like make you like excited about like your business again, or like what you're doing, or if you need to like switch gears a little bit or something, like find those things that like just get you excited. But also, again, I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. Like I had no intentions of starting a business. And so I think what was like huge for me is like reach out to like other business owners or friends or whatever it may be. And like 95% of the time, like they will give you whatever information they have. Like I know there's some people that I'm sure is like, I don't want to share or keep things secretive. I don't know why, but the friends and people that I've reached out to, they've been like so gracious with like helping me with things, whether it's like finding an ads company or like when I needed a new seamstress or different things like that, that like totally helped my business grow or shift different directions or whatnot. So whenever people come to me, I'm like, I will tell you everything. Like I don't sugarcoat it. I don't hide anything. Like I wish someone would have like done that for me at the beginning when I had no idea what I was doing. And so I think just like don't be afraid to ask the questions and just, go all in.
Well, and you surrounded yourself with a lot of good friends. It sounds like in the beginning that you mentioned would show up and just like help you get started. And like
I would have asked Caitlin. She would come over at night. She'd help me pin my blankets. Like
that's what I'm saying. I think you've got more people like in your corner.
Yeah.
That, like if you've got a business idea, if you're passionate about something and you feel like there's something there and you need help, to your point, just ask for it. You probably have people that'll probably step up and just help you or answer your questions or point you in the right direction. But I loved what you said about kind of finding purpose in what you're doing, because I think even if you're not an entrepreneur, you're not a business owner, it's really hard for a lot of people in their normal jobs to find purpose in what they're doing outside of a paycheck. And, everyone can find purpose in their job, even if they don't like their job.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who are just like, you need to do what you love. It's like, well, maybe, but as a provider, like you got to still pay the bills, but you'll be so much happier if you can find purpose in the job.
Yeah.
Whether that's like, hey, my purpose is I'm just going to learn as much as I can out of this. I don't love doing it, but I'm here to learn. And I'm here because I know that it's going to allow my kid to be able to play sports, or like that's your purpose.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to love the task every single day, but if you can like kind of shift your mindset a little bit, to get you kind of that kind of boost of excitement. Cause I'm with you on like, as from an entrepreneur standpoint, it's mind blowing to me how one day you just feel like, what the heck am I doing? Like, this freaking sucks and I don't want to do it anymore. And then
like,
the next
day,
do I
really know what I'm doing?
And then the next day you're just, or the next like 2 hours or 3 hours. And this has come up in other podcasts too, but it's like within a very short period of time, you have so much excitement for what you're doing.
Yeah.
It is crazy how that happens, but trying to find the things that keep you, up and going and motivated and passionate about what you're doing. I think is pretty, not always easy to do, but it's so important.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of studies too that say that, people that find joy in their work are generally, that is part of the recipe of living a happy life. You know, it's like having good friends, surround yourself with good friends, surround yourself with good family, have some sort of a belief system, some faith that gives you purpose.
For sure.
And then honestly, finding joy in work, like whatever that is, finding purpose in that work is also part of that equation. So, anyway, I thought that was good advice. Well, cool. Anything else about Cozies you want to or your journey that you want to
Everyone buy a
discuss?
cozy blanket.
Everyone buy a cozy blanket. Everyone already has.
Everyone needs a cozy.
Everyone already has. Okay, so tell us, like, where is the best place to follow you, to find you, and to search through all those cozies, blankets, and
So,
jammies, and everything else? That you guys do?
Everything. Well, we also have men's. I should have brought you some.
I
We
did
have
see the men's
jammies.
jammies. I saw
They're so good.
I saw all the photos.
Mm-hmm.
You made Wiley do it.
I did.
Was he
The
stoked?
first time he's like,
Was he
I hate
stoked
this.
about
I'm
that?
like, hey, I don't like modeling either, so
Yeah.
I get it. But I was like, it's Father's Day. You have to come model with Brewer.
Okay, so you got Father's Day stuff coming up.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we're
So you can follow us on Instagram. It's cozies, COZYS_. We also have a warehouse on Guadalupe and McQueen, which you can find the address on our Instagram.
which is in Gilbert, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then our website is just coziesblankets.com.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you can also do in-store pickup from the website too if you don't want to pay for shipping.
Cool. Well, Matti.
Yeah.
You are awesome. I think that you've grown an exceptional business, but your story is even more exceptional. And I'm just so happy for you and Wiley and your family and your
Thank
kids.
you.
And appreciate everything you're doing. And I love the fertility outreach and just being super open about it. So would love to maybe do this again sometime or look for opportunities to collaborate on some of those other things we discussed.
I love that.
So be cool.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Let's
Thanks
do it,
again.
dude.
Let's do it, dude. All right. We'll see you.